Hey everybody, we are getting things cranked up here. Let's see. Not sure if we did a live stream last Friday night. My weeks are running together so fast right now. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed a good Easter weekend, and I'm getting some of my material ready here for tonight. Hopefully, I had a good Easter weekend. I know I did. It was good. It was nice, but I'm glad to get back into the swing of things. To be honest with you guys. Summertime is just about here. I know we're not seeing that across the country right now, but we are seeing some decent temperatures right now. At least down here in Louisiana, we are. Although it's supposed to get cold again, so um, I am going to pull up my live feed with you guys real quick so that I can uh, give some greetings since I cannot read them on this small screen over here. So if you guys will bear with me one moment. Um, Always like to give you guys a couple of shout outs whenever we are going live. Let's see here. And for those of you that are tuning in so quickly, I appreciate it. Let's see. I'm going to have to sign in on this computer. So if you guys, again, just be patient with me. As everybody piles into the room, I will spend my couple, yeah, so you guys are coming in. I'll spend a couple of seconds logging in and then we will get rolling. I've got a lot of things to talk about while I'm trying to log in because this is taking a second. A lot of gun news to talk about. I got a couple of new guns to show you guys, and hopefully we can get this rolling here in a second. Again, I'm trying to log in right now. A little bit of an issue right here with my internet connection. Of course, I'm hogging up all the data right here. My upload speed anyway. Let me get over here, guys. You know, internet's such a beautiful thing. Sometimes I hate it. Anyway, as I try to sign in, I would like to, well, I'm not going to be able to, it looks like. I'll look at it on here. Definitely like to welcome all you guys. Those of you, again, that I know I didn't do anything last weekend. Pretty sure it was last weekend. I lose track sometimes. But I definitely want to get things rolling back again because I don't like being away for too long. Plus, a lot of things happened between that time, so I want to make sure that trying to kind of recover some of those things. Actually, a lot of stuff happened last week that I wish I had talked about because between gun laws in Louisiana, man, of all places, gosh, Louisiana had we've had some crazy stuff happen to us. Again, of all of the states that you wouldn't expect something like this to happen, Louisiana seems to be having some of the crazier laws right now that are being proposed, at least. And I don't quite get it, to be honest with you guys. All right, finally I got you guys. I'm going to give a couple of shout outs to everybody that's showing up in here. I'm checking you out on my iPad. Let's see, Big Mo, Matthew Turner, E Rock, Rodney Hendrickson, Timothy Culbreth, Drew 142, Thomas Coppersmith, Nathan D, Dwayne, Razor JB, Matthew Turner, let's see, The Patriot, Mr. F and H, Joshua Watson, Hugh Jazz, Dale Porchard, Aaron Keller, Morshaw, Matthew Gilliam, Stalking Horse, Jeremiah Brent. We got a bunch of guys in here. Hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Let me get right into it. I want to go into some of the issues that we've been looking at, gun related. I have to point out first, just kind of, I'm not trying to mock the English, even though I'm kind of mocking the English. UK, United Kingdom, of course, we all know the history behind that. They've essentially banned guns. I mean, they haven't banned guns, but for the most part, they have banned guns. You've got to go through. It's almost like living in Chicago. You got to go through so much to get a gun over there that I'm not going to say it's not worth it because it's worth getting a gun. I don't care where you are, but it's almost not worth it. There's a lot of red tape. That's if you get the gun. Crazy restrictions on them. They even have restrictions on antique guns, old relics, and things of that nature. And they're actually talking about possibly even going against those and banning those. Obviously, no one has AR-15s. No one has any other cool guns over there. So, the same argument we always put forth is that if somebody wants to murder somebody, they're going to murder somebody. So, what have they had a ridiculous rise in? Knife killings. They have had pretty much an epidemic in killing of knives with knives over there. They think that they still don't. I'm going to use a term that I often use in my social media tirades. I'm notorious for. I wouldn't say that I stalk some of these anti-gun people out there, but I let them know who I am. I follow them. I watch all of their things. I'll get on Twitter and I'll comment and make comments to them. But you know, the people in the UK are notorious for making it sound like they have everything figured out. You know how anybody outside the United States always acts like they've got it figured out and the stupid Americans don't? Well, again, now they have all these knife killings and all these knife murders over there. Their numbers are skyrocketing. And for the first time, I think ever, I'll try to confirm this because I don't want to give out bad information like most of the media does. But I believe it's for the first time ever. Yeah, in February and March, London's murder rate topped New York City's for the first time in recorded history. So we have, you know what we've got over here in the States? We've got, you know, drug epidemics, we've got gangs, we have just an unusual culture to begin with. I'm not going to say it's acceptable what we have over here in terms of the violence and the murders, but you know what? I mean, we expect it in some of these larger cities, these urban areas like this. Now London's facing this, and London has been, they've been saying, look how good we have it because we have gun control. You guys need to be more like us. Now they can't say that anymore because they don't have it so good. Their people are afraid to walk in the streets, not to get shot, but to get stabbed, to get shanked. So, what they think their solution is, because they were so good at preventing what they consider to be gun killings and gun murders, being too blind and stupid to see that the murders the murders remained. You got gun murder here, you ban guns, your murder rate stays here. So the murder rate never goes down. Let's just call them murders for the sake of argument. So your murders were here and you banned guns. Now your murders are here. So what did you actually do? You basically effectively gave them a new tool, made them become more creative. Actually, let's just say this. You made the criminals and the murderers become more brutal. I'm not going to say I want to choose my way to die, but I would probably almost rather a bullet right here than being hacked to pieces and bleeding to death on the street. Again, I don't think that none of us are going to have the luxury of choosing how we pass, but you know, they've just created a more brutal way for people to get murdered. Again, murder rates here, heck, not here and here. Murder rate was here before, now it's here. Their murder rate was never more than New York's. Now it's more. So I don't know what they've done. Maybe thugs and criminals and demented people get more enjoyment out of murdering with a knife than they did with a gun because they're certainly doing it in greater numbers. So our friends over there in the UK decided that they want to now enact very strict knife control. You guessed it. What we always joke about, that you're going to have this kind of control. And guys, I'm sorry, I have a cat hair or something on my face. I don't know what it is. We always joke about the type of weapon that's going to be used for a murder. And now we need to have hammer control and knife control. They're actually doing that, and they're actually calling it that. They actually have, on April 9th, the Home Office Secretary Amber Rudd issued the government's serious violence strategy. In it, the government reiterated its plans to prohibit the direct and online mail order of knives. They're trying to prohibit you from buying a knife online. We're not talking about a machete, a sword, or anything like that. They are trying to pass restrictions in London right now. Get this, you steak eaters out there, including me. They don't want anyone to be allowed to purchase or possess a knife with a point on it. If it has a point on it, They're wanting to make that illegal. Illegal. This would be illegal. See if you can get a good shot of that. This knife would be outlawed in London if these people have their way. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who cares what London does? It's the ridiculous nature of England and all these other countries constantly pointing at us and thumbing their nose at America by saying, oh, you guys have a gun problem. You know, we don't have that because we restrict our guns over here. Look at us. Look how great we are. Everybody loves us. No, I don't want to go to London. I've been to London one time. I'll never go back. Have no reason to go back. It's not a place that you feel safe. Let me just say that. There are neighborhoods over there that you feel like you're walking through Afghanistan. I'm not trying to make this a cultural thing because they have opened, this was, oh gosh, this was 10 years ago when I went. This is well before they opened their floodgates to anybody who wanted to come into their country. And there were areas that the police just did not go. We went through it because we had to go through it to go see a doctor, and it was right on the other side through that particular neighborhood. And I'm telling you, you thought you just entered into, drove through, and then exited a completely different country. It did not feel like London. It had none of the looks. You had shops on the streets, people selling fish, produce, and things like that. Very, very, very Middle Eastern feeling. And again, that was 10 years ago. So what they're doing, let's see, a number of things. You want to know why I know that's the issue that they're dealing with over there is the immigrants and the migrants that they're just letting come in and take over their country. It's because, of course, those people aren't scared to rape the women over there and do anything else that they want to do. But they've also had, this is indicative of the type of laws that they're trying to pass over there. They've also had tons of acid attacks. And I'm sorry to be laughing at this because it's just like whenever you have people who are killing things and people are talking about guns and you're like, wait a minute, it's a people problem. Over here they have stabbings and they're having acid attacks. These are all things that originate from the Middle East. However, they're acting like, okay, we have a knife problem and we have an acid attack problem. I mean, you see the ridiculous nature of what's going on in London. Of course, London has a Muslim mayor. So there you go. I mean, there's part of the problem right there. He's either looking the other way or purposely trying to redirect. But when you have all these, again, I'm not making this up. You can go look if you want. They are trying to, the Home Office also stated that it intends to restrict the sale of corrosive substances to those under 18, because of course we know only 18-year-olds are the ones that are performing acid attacks. This measure is in response to a recent spate of grotesque acid attacks in the country. Okay. The move would affect several common cleaning products. So you're not going to be able to throw cleaning products on people anymore to disfigure the women over there because you don't want them dating a non-Muslim or something like that. Again, my whole reason for bringing this up is simply we constantly see countries thumb their nose at us and act like we are the problem and we're too stupid to figure it out, whenever they're too stupid to realize that it still, just like our liberals over here, it is not a gun problem. It is not a knife problem. It is a people problem. It is not an acid problem. It is a people problem. That's the ridiculous nature of it. People too stupid to recognize what's right in front of their face and blame everything else that they can look at. And part of this is because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Nobody wants to hurt the migrants' feelings. Everybody that's coming over in droves over there. So anyway, they're going down a hole. I would recommend not going to London. If you have the opportunity to go to Disneyland or the Grand Canyon or something like that. Stay out of London. It's not a place you want to go to. I never saw the mystique of the place, to be honest with you. I found it to be kind of dirty and people were a bunch of assholes, to be honest with you. Let's see. I'm not going to go through this story very, very much, but Delta CEO is claiming that bashing NRA members is good for business. You know, sometimes you get these cocky, arrogant millionaires that run these companies, and they listen to their arrogant liberals that they hang out with. They hear them yak in their ear. Screw them. If they don't want to fly with us, tell them to go fly somewhere else. Screw them. We don't need gun people to fly. So then you get the Delta CEO that runs his mouth. And because his company is losing business, because they're going to lose business, and they are losing business, whenever they try to put forth their own types of, not going to support whomever that's related in the gun industry, they get backlash. And one thing that we know for a fact, this is a provable fact, is that conservative people, when they boycott something, it makes a difference. When liberal people want to boycott something, typically it benefits the conservative people that are being boycotted. Let me give you an example. When Chick-fil-A, for instance, I don't even remember what their content was, but whenever they came out being ultra conservative, and the liberals were like, ah ha ha, we're going to boycott Chick-fil-A now, where no one's going to buy their stuff anymore. Conservatives went out in droves, and to this day, I can't drive up to a Chick-fil-A for breakfast or lunch without there being 5, 6 to 12 to 15 cars in front of me. Some days it's wrapped all the way around the building out to the main street. This has happened since the liberals decided they wanted to boycott Chick-fil-A. Totally blew up in their face, raised the stock of Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A became way more profitable after liberals launched their boycott. In comparison, when conservatives want to boycott something, they vote and they act with their dollars. They just find somewhere else to spend their money. And it always has a negative impact. So the fact that this guy is mouthing off, he's trying to make it sound like the Delta CEO is that, it doesn't bother us. Y'all can try to boycott us all you want. It's good for business. Okay, look, let me explain something to you. There's no more liberals flying your airline today than there was yesterday before you ran your mouth about pro-gun people. So don't act like your business is better like Chick-fil-A's was. I think even people on the left know better than that. So it just sounds kind of hollow and fake whenever this guy's pounding his chest, acting like, we don't care, let them try to boycott us. No, he's talking out because it's bothering him. It's affecting his bottom line. And he's trying to stick to his guns to make it sound like, he did the right thing because he doesn't want to walk that back, but he's wishing he could take it back. Let's see here. Before I get into the Louisiana things, yeah, this is kind of sickening here. I'm getting a little bit tired of these banks. Everybody is trying to implement their own gun control. So now we've got Citigroup and Bank of America also trying to implement their own gun control. Let me tell you what these guys are doing. These are two of the bigger banks in the country right now. These guys, let's see, Citigroup's new policy. They are the fourth largest bank in the country. They are going to now withhold business from companies that fail to sufficiently curtail the Second Amendment rights of their customers. Let me tell you what they're actually planning to do. They are wanting to withhold business or take business away from companies that they currently do business with, or that's being proposed to people that are coming to them for a loan. If these businesses, get this, if these businesses want to sell standard capacity magazines, what they call high capacity magazines. If you're a business and you want to sell a 30-round magazine, manufacture a 30-round magazine, be a distributor, whatever, they're not going to do business with you. This is Citibank. Prohibit the sale of firearms to law-abiding adults aged 18 to 20 years old. So again, they're trying to restrict, put in place a discriminatory law that is not a law. But they're trying to put in their own rule that in essence becomes a law, because if you do it, they're not going to give you your loan. So they're trying to get you to break the law. If you're a gun store and you want to take out a loan, let's say you want to go out and buy, $100,000 worth of guns. If you don't agree to discriminate against people, men, adults, women, who are 20 years, 18, 19, and 20 years old, if you don't agree to discriminate against them, they're not going to give you your loan, or they're going to withhold their business from you. We'll get more into this in a second. The key word, discriminate. And the way the current law works with the NICS system, the background check system, is if a person is delayed on a background check, and for whatever reason, and it doesn't matter why they're delayed, if there's so many of us, 95% of delays or refusals on the NICS system or false positives. So it tells you we've got a lot of them. And that's why this rule exists that I'm about to explain. The way the rule works is if I go into a gun store and I fill out my 4473 and I submit it to the gun store, they run my background check, which is supposed to be an instant background check. They run it right at that moment, and there's a delay on it. For whatever reason, who knows, but if there's a delay on it, if the ATF has not contacted that store within 3 days to notify them that either I'm completely denied, because again, at this point, it's just on hold. It's not denied and it's not approved. It's on hold. It's being delayed. If they do not contact them, either approve or deny that sale after 3 days, if that contact has not been made, the gun store, by law, sells that gun to that person, because basically the sun has set on that whole delay, that the ATF, it's their responsibility. If there's a reason to prohibit that sale, it's their responsibility to contact that gun store and tell them you cannot sell that gun to that person. If they fail to do so, because we can't wait for the ATF always to do what they are supposed to do, it's easier for them to just ignore them and not make that contact back, which is kind of lazy if you ask me. So instead of the ATF calling the gun store and saying, hey, you're okay, let that guy buy it, take the gun, take possession of it, they just throw it in the trash and let the time pass, which means then at that point the gun store can go ahead and sell that gun to that person. Citibank is trying to set it up to where you cannot do that anymore. Well, I know that's got to be pissing the ATF off, because now the ATF will have to contact. They'll have to make that call. Like I said, right now I'm an ATF agent. Joe Blow over here, he's delayed. I punch in all his stuff. I look at it up. He's actually good to go. I throw that stuff in the trash. I don't pick up the phone and I don't call that gun company because it takes me a little bit extra time. So this guy now can move on to the very next delayed form that he's got and move on to his next one and go through his stack. He doesn't have to take the time to call these people back. It's a time saver. I get it. I understand why they do it. Now that ATF will be taxed with having to call, because that person will, according to Citibank, they're not going to let that gun shop give that gun to that guy after a 3-day waiting period for that delay process to take place, that background check, that further background check. So either the ATF has got to call back, or this guy is indefinitely not going to get his gun. If the ATF never calls back, this guy never gets his gun, even if it's done in error. Now, he can appeal at some point, but he's not going to walk out with his gun after 3 days or 30 days or a year. If the ATF, under Citibank's rule that they're trying to force people to implement, you could never sell a gun to a guy if the ATF does not call you back and clear you for that process. That's unconstitutional. That's not right. You can't do that. There's a rule in place already that allows for all of this to take place, and Citibank is trying to change the rules. Let me go back to discrimination for a minute. There are states out there, I think Michigan is one of them, that's pretty strict about it, that are very strict about discrimination, including discrimination against old people or young people. You are an adult at 18, 19, and 20 years old. You are an adult. You cannot just say, because of your age, I'm not going to do business with you. You can be sued. So the gun stores in Michigan are not, well, the gun stores in Michigan that do business with Citigroup need to reassess who they're doing business with and maybe go ahead and make that change now. Because of what's going to happen is, if they're doing business with Citibank or Citigroup and they try to follow what Citigroup is trying to have them implement, they're going to be breaking the law within that state. And the ACLU is going to come down hard on them. There will be everybody and their brother. All these Second Amendment guys out there are finally going to have a law on their side. And I encourage them. I encourage every one of them, sue the pants off of that state. You want to get Citibank or Citigroup out of your state? You start suing that state every time they discriminate against an 18, a 19, and a 20-year-old adult that's perfectly legal, has no criminal history, no intent whatsoever of performing a crime. They're just being discriminated against because of their age to buy any weapon of any kind, according to Citigroup. I encourage the attorneys over there to go after Citigroup. And in essence, it's going to wind up going to Citigroup. You guys know how lawsuits happen. You basically, they're going to sue the gun store, right? That's who they're initially going to sue. They're going to say, all right, Billy Bob's Gun Shop, we're suing you because you prohibited this 20-year-old man from being able to buy a gun to exercise his constitutional right. Well, guess what happens then? Billy Bob's like, it ain't my choice. That's the guy over there that told me to do it. Well, now that lawsuit is going to shift. Okay, Billy Bob doesn't have much money, but Citigroup, they got a lot of money. Bam, the attorneys are on them. You don't think some high-priced attorneys are going to team up and sue the pants off of Citigroup? Citigroup, is crapping in their own bed right now. This is not a wise move on their part. Now, it ain't just Citigroup. Bank of America wants to get on it too. What Bank of America intends to do is, let's see, let me read this again. They're attacking manufacturers. What they intend, it's so stupid. I mean, I have to catch myself sometimes, guys. This stuff is just stupid. When I laugh, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous. Bank of America intends to not loan money or to maybe in some cases even close loans that are out there for any company that wants to manufacture or produce certain configurations of commonly owned semi-automatic firearms, AR-15s, making clear that the Bank of America only opposes civilians access to that says what's the guy's name? I want to get his name out there. Citigroup. That's Citigroup. I'm sorry. What's this guy's name? Here we go. Gosh, I'm sorry. I really want to get this guy's name out there. Using gun control, Africa. I don't see his name. Anyway, the guy says that the guy from Bank of America makes the comment. Where is it? Here it is. It's actually a woman. Vice Chairman Ann Finucane announced that the company no longer intends to lend money to firearms manufacturers and stressed to the anti-gun news outlets that the bank will no longer finance military-style firearms for civilian use. Again, it's directly aimed at any kind of an AR-style platform whatsoever for civilian use. So stupid. Military-style firearms. You know, the whole argument that we as gun owners need to continue to make, and I've actually been bashed about it. People have got on me about it that it's just words and it doesn't really matter. No, words mean something. Anybody out there that wants to tell me that, you're giving them a hard time for using the wrong words. No, words mean something because liberals and the left and the anti-gun movement, they tend to rename things. And once they rename things, the whole intent for renaming it, you don't think that they picked assault weapon because it sounds evil. They did that on purpose. They know that that's not a quote assault weapon. They get that. They know that these AR-15s are not military-style firearms. Why do we know this? Because they're not fully automatic. They're not select fire. These things that we have are all semi-automatic. One pull, one shot. But they're calling them military-style firearms. What we need to do is tell them, if I were doing business with this bank, which I would not do business with this bank, they say that they're going to ban military-style firearms for civilian use. Fine. I have none, and I don't intend to ever sell a fully automatic gun. No problem. I'm only selling semi-automatic AR-15s. Because you could go to, you want to take this to court? You can take this and win it in court all day long. My AR-15 is not, none of these up here, not one of those guns is an assault weapon. Not one. Not one of those guns. Even that saw right there, that is not a military-style firearm. That is for civilian use, and it's intended for civilian use, and it's not military style. Nobody in the military, no one, has a weapon just like that. Nobody. They look like that, but they're not made like that. They're full auto. Mine is not. So this gun right here, in my eyes, perfectly legal. Whenever Bank of America would try to restrict that, I would sue them because that is a civilian use gun, not intended for military use. Never has been used and will never be used in military use. I win. Sad, man. Citigroup, Bank of America. If you do business with them, there's a lot of banks out there, guys. It's so easy to change banks. You could get online right now and move every account that you have from Citibank or Bank of America to another bank. Now, do your due diligence and figure out who you're going to move it to because I would be willing to bet that there's plenty of other banks out there that have the same feeling as these guys. They're just not as mouthy as these guys are. Let's see. What else did I have? I wanted to go out before we, because I do want to get into some questions. It's already 7:30. Let's see. I want to talk about Louisiana's laws, and I hope those of you guys that are in other states, I hope you do not have the same problems we're having right now. Okay. Next Tuesday, The Senate, I don't know why, the Senate Judiciary Committee in Louisiana, I don't know when they're out of session, but I think it's coming up soon. They're scheduled to hear anti-gun legislation. It's Senate Bill 185. If you guys are in Louisiana or want to look it up, let's see. 185 is sponsored by Senator Wesley Bishop. Naturally, he's a Democrat out of District 4. It would allow local municipalities throughout the state. We talked about this the last time we had a show. Allow municipalities throughout the state to pass their own gun control laws, creating a patchwork of different laws from parish to parish. And those of you that don't know, in Louisiana, we have parishes where other states have counties. What it essentially would do is it would allow any municipality in any parish or county, to any village, any town, to pass their own restrictive gun laws. The way laws are written now, again, we talked about this last week, so I hope I'm not boring you guys. Whoever is higher in, I guess, jurisdiction, if you will, like you have federal, state, city, the highest always supersedes the lowest. Again, don't ask me why this doesn't pertain to California and some of these other states out there that are doing their things to, attack Second Amendment people and not allow them their constitutional rights, but it happens. I don't know why. I don't know why it's being allowed. Our government has a knack for not supporting the Constitution whenever it benefits them. But the state laws actually supersede the city laws. So any of these guys out there in California in these lower counties, they can't pass a law that says, oh, you can have this particular gun, because the state law supersedes it. It's stricter, or I say it's stricter. It's more encompassing, and you can't go against it if you can't be more strict at a lower level than the higher level. So anyway, they're trying to pass this law in Louisiana to where all these towns and all that can kind of sidestep the Louisiana Constitution, which our Louisiana Constitution is very much like the federal government's Constitution. It's written very similar to the actual Constitution of the United States. So they're trying to make it to where these towns and cities can write these real strict gun laws. So you could pass through a town of 2,000 people and they could have a very strict gun law where, let's say you're passing through it and they don't allow, get this, right now I can, Louisiana has very good gun laws. But if I pass through a town of 2,000 that suddenly has a magazine capacity ban of some sort, doesn't allow you to have a firearm that carries 7 or more bullets or 8 or more bullets, whatever. I could be driving through there with a Glock, for instance, and have 15 rounds in my magazine, drive through, get pulled over for whatever reason, and go to jail because I'm breaking their gun law because I have 15, almost more than double the acceptable capacity of ammo in my weapon. That's just an example of one case. Can you imagine all the laws? Like I said last time, and one of you guys confirmed this. I'm glad I remembered this because I took Louisiana history in like 7th or 8th grade. Louisiana has 64 parishes. That is 64 opportunities. Now, this is just parishes. That is 64 opportunities for us to have 64 different laws throughout our state. That's not including all the cities and towns within those parishes. We could have thousands of different laws. There's no way you could drive from one state to the next or through from one border to the next in a state without potentially breaking a law if these kind of laws are allowed to go forth. It's very important that we maintain certain laws at the state level and don't deviate from them. You can't have to relearn new laws to drive through an entire state. And of course, you know as well as I do, when one state does it, the other states are too stupid and they all follow behind anyway and do the same thing. So when Louisiana does it, believe me, it wouldn't just be here, it'd be other states too. This is the kind of quiet law that we run the risk of it actually passing. It would never pass over here. It would never pass in my part of the state. No way. And honestly, there's probably not a parish or a city or a town probably within 50 to 100 miles of where I sit right now that I would have any problem driving through if this type of law was passed, because I know they're not going to pass those crazy laws. You go up north around Shreveport, go over by Baton Rouge, go down by New Orleans, you're going to have all these kooky little districts out there that are going to pass these stupid little laws right along these main corridors of these interstates. And we have Interstate I-10 that runs right straight through Louisiana. It goes from Florida, from Daytona Beach, well, from that area by Florida on the East Coast straight all the way through to California. I-10. You talk about a heavily traveled highway or interstate. So everybody that is on Interstate 10 will now have to figure out what our laws are in fear that they get pulled over. Now, right now, you got to figure out all the states that you're passing through, from Florida to California. Now you have to worry about every single town that you might pass through. Can you imagine the fear? If any of you guys are out there are truck drivers, can you imagine a truck driver? What he's going to have to contend with in the event that a law like this were to pass nationwide, let alone just Louisiana? Not a cool law, y'all. That's not a cool law. Again, this is one of those quiet laws that people are like, doesn't really bother me, not my problem. Then it gets passed, then you get pulled over. You could get pulled over coming from a duck hunting trip from 2 parishes over, 1 parish over. Just dip into the next parish because they have better duck hunting right there. You have your shotgun. What if they have some kind of new stupid law that your shotgun has to be in one area, and then you have to have your ammunition in a locked box in the back of the truck in another spot in the vehicle? It's very possible because those are laws that exist now in some states. So you could run the risk of coming home from duck hunting, having no intention whatsoever of traveling throughout the state or having a concealed carry firearm or a gun in your vehicle for self-defense. It can only be strictly for hunting. Deer hunting, same thing. You know, they could very easily pass some stupid little law in some little tiny town that takes you maybe 45 seconds to pass right through. We've all been through those little towns. That's their main source of revenue. All these little towns that have a couple hundred people in it or a couple of thousand people, their main source of revenue, because they're small for a reason. They don't have a product that they sell or whatever. They're not rice farmers, for instance. They may have rice dryers there, but they're not, some mecca of rice. They're not a huge, milling town. They're not a manufacturing facility. If they were that big of a revenue generating source, then it'd be a bigger town. They're small towns because they don't manufacture anything. They don't have those sources of revenue. So they're always going to be small. A small town typically will stay small unless something comes in there and changes it and it becomes something else, which makes it grow. So in most cases, your small town stays small. Their main source of revenue, traffic. The main highway coming through there. That's what they're coming through there for. They're catching people. That's why you rarely get out of a ticket in these small towns, because it's such a huge source of revenue for these towns. That's how they pay for. Heck, that's how they pay for cops' salaries in many cases. They don't have a tax base there big enough to actually take care of a jailhouse, police chief, or whatever. So in many cases, they're counting on those guys passing through there. So don't think that, it's a small town in Louisiana or whatever. They're not going to care about that. If you give these people another reason to enforce some kind of other law on you for whatever reason, they're going to enforce that law on you. Problem is, there's consequences for that. It may not just be a ticket. It may be you going to prison, not jail for a night. It may be you going to prison. So again, don't let these little quiet laws like this, these quiet bills, don't just shrug your shoulders at them and say, there's no way that'll ever pass. Because once they do pass, there's way more downfall that happens after that we really need to be worried about and concerned with. The other law, let's see, where is it? We keep hearing about it. Senate Bill 491. These two bills here have trudged through, and they're making their way through right now the session, and this is kind of scary. Senate Bill 491, sponsored by Senator Troy Carter, Democrat, District 7, bans the importation, manufacture, sale, purchase, possession, or transfer of bump stocks, not just bump stocks, other rapid fire devices. This will include, based on their wording, nice triggers, aftermarket triggers. If you swap out and take your stock trigger out and put an aftermarket trigger in there. If you buy a trigger that's been polished, simply polished. If a guy takes the exact same trigger, polishes it, and gives it to you, now that's a rapid fire device. Guys, this is scary. This is really scary because you're leaving it again. I stress this in all of my videos. You're creating something that is very, very open-ended. You're creating ambiguity. Sorry. You're leaving it up to attorneys, judges, and a court system to decide within a courtroom on a case-by-case basis what a rapid fire device is. Now, the reason that is so dangerous is because we have seen all these idiots get on TV and talk about full semi automatic, talk about military style firearms that are not military style, talk about assault weapons, talk about scary guns. And I'm not trying to be smart when I say that. The fact that a gun has a certain feature, that it looks a certain way, they assume that it functions differently than the same exact caliber of weapon over here that doesn't have the scary features that look like. We're leaving all of this up to these people's discretion. Now we're going to put the faith of the court system in somebody's future potentially going to prison and paying massive fines. Now we're going to leave it up to these same incompetent, uneducated people who know nothing about firearms. Now we're going to leave it up to them. And let's say you make it to a jury of your peers. You do realize how many stupid people we have in the world, right? You do realize that. And the further north you go, and the further to the coast you go, you get people that are even more ignorant about guns. More and more ignorant. When you're in the Midwest and the center of the country and the South, you know about guns. And a lot of people you might find on a jury of peers know about guns. The further north you go and the further west and east you go, the people get stupider and stupider and stupider in terms of what their knowledge of firearms is. So now you're going to be counting on 12 people who don't know squat about guns to determine if your device was a rapid fire device and you need to go to prison for it. That's the scary part about stuff like this. And again, if Louisiana passes this, there's a whole lot of people going to be in a whole lot of trouble. The problem is, who's going to enforce it? They're not. If they outlaw these things, I don't think anybody's coming to my house to take anything that I have. Maybe I'm on somebody's radar screen. I really don't think it would be a good idea, and I don't mean this in a threatening way. I don't think it would be a good idea to start sending deputies and policemen to homes that you think you might be able to go confiscate something. And I don't mean that, again, this is not a threat coming from me. I'm saying this as a public service announcement. You send a deputy into the backwoods of some little dirt road way out west over here, and I'm not going to say the towns that I'm thinking of that come to mind. You send a deputy down there, which, look, our sheriff's not that stupid. But if you do that, there will be multiple cases that deputy does not make it back home. And I'm not saying that, again, as a threat. I'm telling you, you cannot pass laws like this and think that they are going to be self-policed. You cannot think that the people out there are going to say, let me get rid of my rapid fire device. If you don't have some kind of a way that you intend to enforce that law, what good is the law? I know what they're probably going to use it for. That way, if they want to raid my house, for instance, if they have something that they want to, they may think that now they have something to get me on, and that could be a reason why they do it. And I don't just mean me. Let's say that a sheriff of a certain parish has an issue with Billy Bob or something like that, and now he's finally got his reason. Because, boy, I know Billy Bob's got a bump stock, so now they can go raid his house on grounds that he probably has a rapid fire device and send him to prison or whatever for owning an illegal weapon. And plus, you make this guy most likely a felon, and you prohibit him from ever being able to own another gun for the rest of his life. That's what the gun control people are really looking for, by the way. So again, these are laws that don't need to be enforced because it's very dangerous to try to enforce a law like this. I'm just using us as an example. I can think of plenty of states that, I don't know, Louisiana may have its own like militias where these guys, go out and they actually train out in the woods and all that. I don't know of any in this area. It's possible they have them. But you hear about them all the time. I've seen episodes on TV of Mississippi and Alabama where they have these full-blown militias, and these guys go out there and they train. Probably not a good idea to send the deputy down that dirt road where these guys are training because you hear something firing kind of rapid. And you want to go check it out and see if anybody's got any illegal rapid fire devices that you need to confiscate from them. Probably not a good idea. Again, I'm not condoning what they would do. I'm not saying that let me just say this. It would never be okay to shoot these guys, all right? Let me just get that out of the way for anybody that might want to use that against me. I'm not condoning that, and I never would support that. You're not going to tell me that will never happen, though. You're not going to tell me that you're not going to go try to confiscate something from somebody that you better not be messing with. Some of these people out there, will defend their families, and they're not going to put up with unconstitutional stuff like this. And that's where you're going to get into a danger. That's where you're going to start a wildfire of unrest, so to speak. I don't think these kind of laws, these laws don't change anything. Let's face it, 58 people is horrible when they're murdered, but one crime, a device used in one crime does not make it worthy of being banned or made illegal. I'm sorry. I'm not a lover of the bump fire stocks, but again, a device used in one crime does not make it so bad that it should be made illegal for all of the law-abiding citizens out there that are constitutional people that follow the Constitution, follow the law every single day, get up, obey the law, don't ever break a law, don't get a speeding ticket. You want them now all of a sudden make felons out of all of them because one nutbag in the history of this country used that device in one crime. I'm sorry the body count was 58, but it was one crime. It was one man, one shooting, and that's for those of you that might still, some people out there don't even believe that a bump fire stock was even used in the Vegas murder. So again, I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying some people still dispute that. That being said, take the body count out of it. It was used one time. That does not constitute making something illegal. Sorry, it does not. That's just stupid. It's very stupid. Look, guys, these are laws that are being pinned out there, and there's a lot more out there. I'm speaking on Louisiana because that's the ones that I kind of keep my ear to the ground on. I know there's a lot of people out there right now that I want to say tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's the 14th. There are a lot of pro Second Amendment rallies planned throughout the country tomorrow. Unfortunately, it looks like Texas and Louisiana that I know of are going to have horrible weather, like bad weather, like storms and tornado warnings and things like that, potential floods. So it looks like Texas and Louisiana, Austin and Baton Rouge are probably not going to be hot spots. I'm not planning today. I've already seen the forecast in Baton Rouge. If you know that trek between Lake Charles and Baton Rouge, you know that whenever there's weather, traffic's going to be at a stop anyway. But nobody will be there. They need to postpone it. They need to have it another time. Louisiana is small enough where we could get together any weekend. I think it's a mistake to have a rally and only have 10 people show up whenever you could have it on a day with nice weather and have 10,000 possibly show up, honestly. And Louisiana would support that. But when the weather gets this nasty with tornado warnings and flash flooding and things like that, people aren't going to show up. Let's face it, they're just not going to. I know you can sit back there and say, oh, it's the Second Amendment. Everybody should show up no matter what the weather is. They ain't showing up. You can fool yourself all you want to. We're not going over there in tornadoes. It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, you can beat your drum all you want and talk about the Second Amendment. It's just foolish to think that you're going to get the same amount of people out there in stormy weather than if you had nice weather. Again, I think it makes more of an impact, sends more of a statement whenever we show up in these massive numbers when more people can go. I think that makes more sense. Guys, I'm showing 748. I will, if you got, real quick. I have two guns to show you guys that I'll be doing reviews on. Maybe this weekend if Sunday's weather is okay. This is the brand new Ruger Security 9. Now, this is a very affordable gun, $299 you can get it for. It MSRP is for $379, but you're always going to find it around $300. For a polymer styled gun, this is which is kind of unusual. It's not striker fired. It is hammer fired. It's actually got no, you won't be able to see that hammer in there. Oh, let's see here. I know it's not loaded, but I still don't feel right aiming a gun at anything. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it. Nope. There's a hammer in there. It actually is hammer fired. The one thing though I will have to say, and this is surprising me with Ruger, is it has a manual safety. And unless, guys, I'm doing something wrong, never shot this gun yet. The manual safety does not engage. Not cool, right? Not cool. It will not engage. I do not know why. Cannot figure that out. I've tried everything from putting a magazine in it, wondering if there's some real weird reason that mag had to be in there or anything. But the manual safety, again, you can see it is off and it will not engage. So, haven't shot it yet. Maybe I need to take it out there. Maybe that has something to do with it. I doubt it. I've never seen a gun that had to have something else, some other reason for that manual safety to work. Slides in the right location. It fires. It will dry fire. So slide is definitely, everything's in battery and all that good stuff. The other gun that I got that I'm really excited about is the CZ2075 Ramey. This is a neat little gun. Little subcompact hammer-fired gun by CZ. Very cool little gun. 10-round double-stack magazine capacity. I'm sorry the camera's not picking that up very good. But a very cool little gun. I've actually got another set of grips. That's what's kind of cool about this one. It's the grips can be changed out of it. So I've got a really cool set of grips that are coming on that. I'm going to be doing a review on this. I'm kind of excited to carry this one. You see the compact nature of it makes for a really cool little carry gun. I know a lot of people out there that can still carry. You know, they're interested in carrying a small subcompact gun. Some of them with a hammer on them because obviously you can carry one in the pipe, and you know all you got to do is cock it whenever you want to shoot it. Obviously, it makes things a little bit safer. There's a whole other argument for that out there that you should have it cock blocked and all that good stuff. I'm not going to get into that here, but this seems to be a nice little gun for that. So I'm going to run that thing through some tests and see how it goes. Let's see, guys. If you guys would, let's go over questions now. If you guys have any questions whatsoever that we can go over while I got you guys on here, I'd like to do that now. I think you guys talked about it. Let's see. Yeah, do an @Legally Armed America if you're trying to ask me a question, because there's a lot of stuff on here. You can see it's scrolling pretty fast right now, and a lot of you guys in here. You guys are active. I'll tell you what. I go watch a lot of live feeds out there. I got to tell you, the feed every time we do a live show, you guys are very active in the comment section. That's cool. It's neat when you have so many people that you interact with that know guns. I mean, it's interesting to me. I learn a lot from everybody. That CVA, this Two Feather channel is asking about what caliber the CVA is. That's a 45-70. For those of you that aren't familiar, see this camo gun right here? That's a muzzleloader. That's a CVA brand, and it is a 45-70. Drew142 asked about becoming a moderator. I will make a note of that. What I do is I actually vet you guys, Drew142, and I go out and I look at your channel because I don't want some jackleg in here being a mod. Also, just so you guys know, I wanted to have a guest on here tonight. I am resetting up all of my computer system in here. We're going to be doing podcasts also. So I'm having to reconfigure everything. And I did not have time to set up the Google Hangouts function that I wanted to use. So I apologize for that. I did get a lot of you guys sent me emails last week wanting to be guests on the show. I have flagged all of those emails so that I can go back and search by them. I have not forgotten about you. So I am going to do something. So definitely want to keep that in mind. I intend next Friday to have one of you guys on, and I think I've chosen who it's going to be. I'm not going to say right now, but again, I've got a good list of you guys that I'm just going to roll through and we'll have on here. I think it'll be a lot of fun having you guys as live guests on here. Hugh Jazz says this. I love your name, by the way. Says this is a great channel. I appreciate that. Walter Miner says great chats. Thank you very much. Fun with Guns says this is my favorite live feed. Thank you very much. Let's see. Timothy Colbert says, you should let my wife come test with you Sunday. It would make her day, and we are out of Lake Charles. Really? I didn't realize you guys were in Lake Charles. Got a few people from Lake Charles that catch us on here. It's so funny because being here in Lake Charles, we actually got recognized outside of Lake Charles. Even though our show was on television, or is on television here in Lake Charles, we got way more popular outside of the area. And just never really thought much about Lake Charles. And finally, we're seeing people in Lake Charles are actually following our show a little bit more, which we do have some really for those of you that are in the Lake Charles and the Southwest Louisiana area, we have some very interesting news that hopefully by next Friday night we'll be able to share with you guys. Very, very, very excited to talk to you guys about that. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are very active. I like that. C4 Defense asks, are you gonna stoller in on my live stream tomorrow? I guess you're maybe Stroll at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know, C4 Defense. Let me do this again. I have gotten kind of, I don't mean this from a jerk standpoint, but I've gotten kind of picky about who I participate with because I don't want to get mixed up with anybody that somebody can now come back to me and say that I got with some militia group or whatever, just BS like that. I'm kind of careful about what I do on that, and of course, you never know. You don't when you're going to get baited into something that's not the right situation for you. Also, so I'm kind of picky about that. What I'm gonna do, I've got your channel C4 Defense. I'm gonna go check it out, and yeah, man. I mean, if everything's cool, I may reach out to you, and I wouldn't have a problem doing that. I like to participate in it anytime I can if it's going to be a legitimate conversation, about Second Amendment or about firearms. I mean, that's my passion, so I want to definitely hang out with it. Matthew Gilliam asked, can you share my change.org petition to get YouTube to change their policies? Sure, Matthew, send it to me. My email address is paul@legallyarmedamerica.com. Again, paul@legallyarmedamerica.com. Matthew, just send me that, and I'll be happy to look through it. And if it's something that I can support and get behind, I'll be happy to forward it. 241 Williams says, nice gun room. Thank you very much, sir. Worked hard for it, and I appreciate that. And C4 Defense also says he would like to be a mod, so I will make notes on that also. Definitely need some mods in here. I think we've got one or two right now. Let's see. Love the wallpaper. Yeah. That's definitely not just paper, that's for sure. Gilbert says he lived in Lake Charles but just moved to Mississippi. Sorry to hear that, man. I love this area. Yeah, you guys, you've got some good comments in there. I love going back through here and reading all these comments you guys have. Very interesting stuff. Timothy Colbreth again says, found your channel by accident almost a year ago and have been hooked ever since. Appreciate that, man. Again, you're the one that said you're from Lake Charles. That's cool. Okay, Walter Miner says a Ruger safety won't engage unless cocked and pushed perfectly straight up, not pushing. Nah, not it, buddy. That's not it. Believe me. And I'm not trying to be smart aleck. This isn't the first time that I've handled a gun that has a manual safety. I could stand on my head and push this thing whatever direction you might suggest. It ain't engaging. It's not going to engage. It's not the angle. I took this thing, look, if you guys have the time, we're about to roll over on time, I'll show you something. Here we go, pocket knife. This Ruger is a little interesting how it tears down, actually. It's a little, and I don't scratch my guns either, by the way, so don't worry, this will not scratch it. Although I might cut my hand. And that pin will fall off on you, out on you. This is the Ruger Security 9. Safety. Will not engage. I could chew bubble gum, drink a beer, do a handstand, a cartwheel. I could do whatever. It ain't going to engage. That's not cool. Maybe it's some kind of weird, wacky safety feature, but I've never seen a safety feature prevent you from putting the safety on. I've seen safety features prevent you from cocking a gun, charging the slide, pulling the trigger, but never prevent you from activating the safety. So again, not really sure what that's all about. We'll figure it out though. Mark Brink says, we need to, as Second Amendment supporters, to start referring to ourselves as pro-rights because, well, if not pro-rights, you're anti-rights and maybe we can win more battles. I wish I could, maybe wording is it. Maybe that's just something to keep in mind. I can't argue that point. Let's see, Lazarus Laslonin, and I so apologize for getting these names wrong, says, I'm a California gun store manager. If you ever want a Cali guest on the show, Lazarus, do me a favor. Email me and let me know that you would like to be a guest on the show. I'd love to have you on one time. I think that's interesting to talk to a California gun store manager. That almost sounds like an oxymoron, to be honest with you. It doesn't seem like nothing I would set out to do. Again, I know you guys. You live in the state. You can't just bail. But yeah, send me an email, paul@legallyarmedamerica.com, about being a guest on the show, and I'd love to look into that. That'd be interesting to have you on here. I think we'd probably get some pretty good questions for you on here. Um, let's see. Preston Bryant asked if I'm going to be attending the rally tomorrow. No, Preston, you says sorry for getting in here late. No, the weather's supposed to be pretty rough tomorrow. From what I've seen, let's see here, just to confirm, and just so people don't think I just don't want to go, I will show you guys. In fact, there's an attorney friend that I texted and asked him if he wanted to go, and I did not hear back from him. Then the weather got to where it was supposed to be nasty. Yeah, actually starting tonight, chance of rain 100%. Tomorrow's doesn't look so bad now, but this stuff's probably moving over there. Chance of rain 60%. Let me see what Baton Rouge is. Sorry to be boring you guys, but we're over on our time right now anyway, so this is kind of like an after the show thing right now that we're doing. Yeah, tomorrow 100% chance of rain in Baton Rouge. In fact, there's a warning on it also. Strong thunderstorms likely. Storms could contain damaging winds. Let's see, chance of rain 100%, 1 to 2 inches of rain expected. Man, look, I'm not going. I'm not doing that. I will tell you why, Preston. I said this earlier in the stream that we're more effective showing up with a few thousand people over there, possibly 10,000 people, than we are showing up with 8 or 10 people with umbrellas and raincoats. That's not sending a message to anybody. In fact, no one will probably even notice that anybody is at the state capitol because, number one, they won't be out. Number two, the ones driving won't even be looking at the state capitol because they're going to be focusing on the road and the 2 inches of rain that are on the road. But most people aren't going to be getting out. So to me, it doesn't send a message. It almost sends the wrong message that we are not mobilized as a group because there's not enough people out there to show that we truly are mobilized. You get a day where it's not raining. I don't care if it's pretty weather, just a day where it's not raining. And you may get in the state of Louisiana a good 5 to 10,000 people out there. I think we're a lot more effective to postpone this thing. I'll fully support it. I'll go over there and live stream from Baton Rouge. I would love to do that. But again, not tomorrow. I mean, I'm being realistic. There's people out there that are gonna, yeah, I'm gonna go no matter what. That's fine. It's still not going to make a difference. It's just not going to. We have to be smart whenever we try to have our rallies and all that and make them be effective. It's pointless to try to have a rally that's not effective. I mean, honestly, it is just a complete waste of time and it doesn't make a point to anybody. Matthew says he's going to email me. It sounds good. I look forward to your email, Matthew. Drew142 says, what's your favorite bolt action you own or have seen? My favorite bolt action, believe it or not, is a Winchester single shot 22. That is probably the first gun I ever shot in my life. I still have it, believe it or not. I have to actually, no, I'm sorry, that might be a Remington. I have another 22, a Plinker, the one where you put the ammo down the little slide tube right underneath the barrel. That's actually a pretty cool little design. That's a Winchester. I think maybe my single shot is probably a Winchester. But I also have a Ruger Precision 6.5 Creedmoor up there that I'm pretty fond of also from a bolt action standpoint. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a big precision shooter. You see my glasses? I have a horrible astigmatism. And when I'm looking in optics and scopes, particularly at a very long distance, it's hard for me to see. It's hard for me to focus on everything. The reticles actually will bend. My astigmatism is so bad that it'll bend the reticle what I'm looking at sometimes. So yeah, I know what you're thinking. This guy drives at night. Yeah, believe it or not. Actually, I have to legally be wearing my glasses in order to legally drive. Let's see. Trying to read you guys here. See you, Walter. Thanks for. Okay. See a couple of guys on there saying action underway per Trump. Well, let's look at it. Y'all want to make history together? Let's see what's going on. Apparently, we just, I'm assuming we're attacking in Syria. That's all I can guess, right? Let's take a look at that real quick. Again, I know we're over, guys. It's 8:05 right now, but a couple of you have mentioned that. And of course, it's not on there. I'm not seeing it on a website, but somebody's seeing it. So I guess you guys are seeing that we are now attacking. I guess I'm assuming Syria, right? Let's see. Read some of the other stuff you guys have been talking about. Well, guys, I think I'm going to sign off because I'm going to go down and try to figure out what's going on also. Hey, do me a favor, guys. If y'all want, I'm wide open to trying to answer questions you guys might have. I love to interact with you guys. It's a lot of fun. If you have any questions, if you have any potential topics that you want us to talk about on our Friday Night Live Gun News segment, simply email me, Paul at legallyarmedamerica.com. Again, Paul at legallyarmedamerica.com. If you don't want to spell it all out, it will also come to the same email if you type in Paul at laa.bz. Let me write this so you'll know what I'm talking about. Paul at laa.bz. That also will come directly to my email, Paul at legallyarmedamerica.com or Paul at laa.b as in boy, z as in zebra will also come directly to me. Feel free to send me anything, suggestions on the show, things you want to talk about. If you want to be a guest on the show, I'm still taking those requests. And probably starting next Friday night, I'll have one of you guys on here. And we'll try to rotate that out on every Friday. We'll have some special guests every now and then also. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I relate more to the common guy because I'm a common guy. I'm an average guy. And I'm not really into the superstar type stuff. You know, we'll have some people that are notable people on here every now and then. But I get more enjoyment out of hanging out with, you know, my kind of people, the average everyday guy that's a gun owner, likes to protect himself, and is a pro Second Amendment person. So that's my intent, is to get more of those people on here to interact with you guys because, again, I have more in common with you all. So we're going to start that hopefully next Friday. I always enjoy these chats, guys. I really enjoy the feedback. What I do is after we end this feed, I usually scroll through y'all's comments, and a lot of times I don't know if the feed stays open, but for as long as I can, I stay on there and I'll actually comment and answer on some of you guys' questions and things like that. I'm gonna shut it off for now, guys. We will see you guys very, very soon. Oh, look for my videos on the CZ Rammy, and also when I figure out what's going on with this Ruger Security 9, I'll let you guys know also. That'll be in my video as well. So probably at Security 9, I'll be doing something on that this weekend because I'm very, very curious why that safety will not engage on that. But we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again, guys. I always enjoy this. We'll see you all.